Hey guys, I'm your host Nick Lazaga, and welcome to MiM Monday. This is Mickey in Minutes Live, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's make Monday magical. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about some Disneyland news, including Disneyland's 70th and Walt Disney World news, Cool Kids Summer, and we'll be talking about the newest live-action Disney movie, Lilo and Stitch. So, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, working on a new setup here for MiM Mondays. Got the podcast mic and everything going. So, hopefully it sounds good. Better than usual with the microphone going. So, I'm happy to get this thing going today. So, let's start off talking about the Disneyland 70th. I'm wearing my Disneyland t-shirt. If you watched MiM Monday a few weeks ago, I went to Disney outlets and I bought some cool stuff. And this is one of the things I bought, this Disneyland shirt. And one of the reasons I bought it is because it has Splash Mountain on it, guys. Isn't that awesome? They don't really sell any Splash Mountain stuff anymore, so I was just really stoked to get it. But I figured it'd be appropriate because we're talking a lot of Disneyland today. Hey guys, welcome in. So, if you've never been part of a MiM Monday before, here's what we do. We talk about the news, you chime in the chat, and we have conversations, you know? I'm not trying to give you the news firsthand. I just want to talk about it with this wonderful Disney community. And if you're watching this as a reel after the fact, then, share it with your friends and, fast forward to different parts. We'll be talking about lots of different things. Or just sit and watch the whole thing. So, it's Mickey in Minutes Live. Let's get started. So, the Disneyland 70th anniversary, it's almost in full swing. We have a lot of things going on already, and then things still to come also. And so, the Disneyland 70th anniversary has a whole bunch of decorations everywhere. New stuff still popping up. There's beautiful bunting. There's flowers on some of the Main Street vehicles, which look really nice. Signs and banners and the beautiful 70th emblem on the castle. But one thing that I really like and that I kind of want to talk about right now is that big sculpture in the Esplanade. If you're Disneyland people, if you've been there already and seen this in person, is it as pretty in person as it looks in the pictures? So this thing, it's a big 50-foot sculpture in the Esplanade. That's that area in between Disneyland and California Adventure, because you can walk between parks there, unlike Disney World where you need to take transportation to get to another park. But anyways, so they have this big, beautiful sculpture there, and it's inspired by Sleeping Beauty Castle. It has colorful glass panels, it has golden charms that represent the original 5 lands, Main Street USA, Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Frontierland, and wait, did I say them all? I've lost track of my brain. I was reading the comments. What's going on, Larcana Man? Distracted me. So what I think is so cool about this is it looks like a big music box. And so it has all these beautiful glass panels and gold emblems on it that kind of look like wind vanes that represent each of the New Orleans thing. That's not an original park. That's not an original land, though. New Orleans Square is not original to the park. So I don't know. I'll go back and recount. So it looks like a big music box, and it has these emblems on top that look like weather vanes or wind vanes or something. And they're playing. They added some new music to the Esplanade that kind of sounds like music box, like a music box loop, and it's really cool. And so they have music in there, including "When You Wish Upon a Star," "Under the Sea," "Once Upon a Dream," and all these in a music box style to kind of go with the music box theme of this big sculpture. And then they also added even more music to the Esplanade for the 70th. And what I think is so cool about this is that they've added music from different parts of history of the of the Disneyland Resort. Let's see, Lorcana Man coming in, Main Street USA, Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland. So I did say them all. I just lost count. And so they added this new music loop, which has some songs that are just awesome, like throwbacks for Disneyland history people. So we have stuff like Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, which, we have Carousel of Progress at Walt Disney World. But that was originally for the 1964 World's Fair, and then it was moved over to Disneyland, where it lived for a while in the space that is now, what is it, Launch Bay over there now? It was, it's empty now, right? It had like some Marvel stuff in it for a while. I don't know what to do in that building. It was like just random space. But anyway, so that's where Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow used to, the song, when it was in Carousel of Progress, used to be there. Of course, when we got it in Florida, we changed the song to Now Is the Time. That's the song that I grew up with. And then they changed it back to Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. But it's great to have that part of the Esplanade music loop for the 70th. Other things they added, Main Street Electrical Parade. That music, obviously iconic, synonymous with Disneyland. And this one's cool. The Dick Dale Space Mountain music. Does anyone remember that? So it was like surf rock guitar. Dick Dale was a famous surf rock guitar player. And so that's part of the music loop now in the Esplanade now too. And I love that music. There was recently somebody did a cover of that. I can't remember the name of the artist. I'll post about it at some point on Making a Minutes, because this cover was just spectacular of the Dick Dale Space Mountain music. I'm going to find it. I'm going to post it. It has Miracles from Molecules in this Esplanade music loop now. That's old school. If you go back a couple episodes of Making a Minutes ago, we did an episode about shrinking at Disneyland or Disney parks, making you tiny. And one of the things we talked about was the attraction that this song is from. So yeah, it's great to hear Miracles from Molecules in there. If you want to learn more about that attraction, listen to that episode. It was called Adventures Through Inner Space. Hey, welcome in. And then, of course, classic songs like, Yo-Ho, Pirate's Life for Me, that stuff. And Star Tours music. So, again, they're getting music from all different generations and time periods of Disneyland history. And then, of course, as if you haven't heard it enough in Disneyland already, they also have Celebrate Happy, the song by the Jonas Brothers, because it wouldn't be the 70th celebration without that Jonas Brothers song. The Magic Happens song from the Magic Happens parade, which honestly, I've still never seen that parade. So, cause I feel like it keeps coming and going, right? Nothing Can Stop Us Now from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So much stuff. So, anyways, as I've talked about it a lot. I'll be in Disneyland next month now, in July. And funny enough, one of the things I'm really excited to see is the Esplanade and hear the new music loop and see this really cool sculpture. And so, I'm all in for the 70th. So, the other thing that I think is really cool about what they're doing for the 70th is food. And now, obviously, you're thinking, Nick, they do food for everything. There's always a cupcake. But what I like about what they're doing for the 70th is they brought out food items that are inspired not only by Walt Disney, but also by classic Disneyland attractions. So this is something just so cool to me that I'm really excited to talk about. So there's lots of food, and here it is. So one of the ones I really want to talk about is, does anyone remember, or maybe not in your own memory, but just from research or being a Disneyland fan, the Casa de Fritos? Casa de Fritos. So this was a restaurant in Disneyland, and they had it was sponsored by Frito-Lay, and they had this statue of the Frito Kid, and they had like a dispenser that would give you like Fritos chips, and the Frito Kid was like a statue, and he would like say stuff, and it was really cool. So I did an episode on this classic Mickey and Minutes episode. I'll put a link to it at some point. but if you go back a few years ago, I don't remember what episode it was, I did an episode about Fritos at Disneyland. And what's cool about this restaurant is this is the restaurant where Doritos were invented. Did you know that? Doritos were invented in Disneyland. Doritos. Yeah. Not Fritos, Doritos. And so I do a whole story about that on the podcast, and it's really interesting. But what they're doing now for the 70th is the location that is there now, which is Rancho del Zocalo. They have a new dish inspired by Casa de Fritos. And so what it is, it's called the fried tamale walking taco. Fried tamale walking taco. Now, I know like a walking taco, typically it's like a bag, and you put like the chili and stuff in it. Well, so this is like actually served on a plate. But it's inspired by two of the dishes that used to be found at Casa de Frito. It's inspired by the Ta Cup and Frito chili pie. So the Ta Cup was an open-faced taco that was in a fried corn tortilla, and then, Frito pie. So they've combined this into a dish that's an homage to this classic Disneyland restaurant, which I think is just very, very cool. And another one, well, I think it's become almost like a story that Walt Disney just loved chili, right? And sometimes I wonder, like, if Walt Disney was still around, if he'd be like, I said I liked chili one time, and now everyone thinks it's my favorite thing, But people have latched onto that Walt Disney loves chili. So, and he probably did. But they have some dishes inspired by his love of chili, and one of them is called the Wed Chili Cheese Baked Potato. And, Wed, Walter Elias Disney, or also the name of the original Imagineering company was called the Wed Enterprises. So, works both ways. But chili and a baked potato with cornbread. Sounds pretty good to me. I'll take that. And then, of course, one of the big things back in classic Disneyland was the Mickey Mouse Club. And so they have this cute cookie that looks like a Mouseketeer hat. So just super cute stuff. I really love how they're doing all this stuff for the 70th. Just bringing all these old things that Walt liked, things from old attractions or restaurants or different things in the park. And it's just so cool. They have a pretzel that's supposedly inspired by Star Tours. I don't know. This is weird. Okay. It's a cream cheese filled pretzel dipped in lemon flavored icing topped with crushed Nilla wafer. What does that have to do with Star Tours? Someone please tell me. I don't know. But yeah, so lots of cool stuff. And then, of course, some drinks, that you can't go wrong with drinks. And speaking of drinks, if we want to switch over to Walt Disney World for a minute, they did some previews of Geo 82. And, guys, reservations are open for it, and it's booked up forever. I'll be going to Disney World in September, and I'll let you know if I get a reservation there. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and a few weeks ago on MiM Monday, I talked about Geo 82, and I forgot to mention something. And right when the show ended, Chelsea was like, "You didn't talk about the ice," and I was like, "Oh my gosh, the ice!" So I'm a big old-fashioned guy. I love old fashions, and the ice, the big cube that they put in the old-fashioned at Geo 82, it's like stamped with a Spaceship Earth. Like, it looks like Spaceship Earth on the ice cube. Guys, that is so cool. Like, that is just worth bringing up Geo 82 just for that. So I need to know, where can I get a Spaceship Earth ice cube? Like, are they going to sell this? Am I going to be able to get this? I saw like a video. It looked like they stamped it. Like, they had the ice cube and they stamped it. So I'm guessing it's some sort of like warm stamp. And guys, so cool. Just really, really, really so cool. So literally on my MiM Monday notes, it says Geo 82 cool ice old fashioned. So there you go. I talked about the ice, and I could not be more stoked about it. And just, if you guys have seen the previews of this, if you haven't, go look it up on YouTube. But it looks spectacular. And I have one criticism, and this is a criticism I've had just of the Epcot, the new Epcot overlay in general. They should have kept Fountain of Nations. And seeing the park from the point of view of the windows of GO82, you're like looking out onto the the new garden area with the big planter. That's, questionable looking. That planter is about where the Fountain of Nations used to be. And if you don't know what this is, it was this beautiful giant fountain. It would shoot water. Think Epic Universe, like the new fountain that they have in the middle of their Celestial Park, and it has just a water show. We used to have that at Epcot, essentially, and in front of it was like a little stage and everything. And so I'm just imagining seeing the Fountain of Nations. Yes, the fountain would have been perfect. Yeah, imagine seeing the Fountain of Nations from this perspective of being up in the in GO82, formerly the Siemens Lounge, and looking out at the fountain. Now, the big selling point for GO82 is that you're going to be able to see fireworks, and there's going to be great fireworks views. And in fact, they're selling the fireworks views separately from everything else, and because it's going to be so fabulous. And they, but I feel like the fountain would have been perfect. It would have been right in view. And what I noticed, the way the tree line is and stuff, you're probably not going to be able to see a lot of the water features from Luminous, just the high fireworks, which, is going to be great. They're going to pipe in the music and everything. I mean, if you're into Luminous, I guess. I've already been on record on this show saying that I'm not a big fan of Luminous. It's kind of a downer show. Like, nobody wants to hear Sarah McLachlan during an Epcot show. No matter how beautiful that song is, you just don't want to hear it during an Epcot show. So, yeah. The other thing I want to talk about with Walt Disney World, guys, new park maps. And so I'm not talking about how they reprint the covers for the park maps every single time, every month or whatever with the new cover. But we're actually getting these for Cool Kid Summer, which is what just kicked off in Disney World. They have these kid maps. And so they're like Cool Kid Summer maps. It says Magic Kingdom, fun for families, kids on the front, or whichever park it is. And so these maps are like kid oriented, and they have one for Epcot. They have one for all the parks. I believe they have them for Disneyland too. Let me know in the comments. I think they have them for Disneyland also. But these maps, so they'll show like Disney, the Disney attractions, the same as the other maps, but like what's kid friendly and what's not kid friendly, and like just some tips for adults with kids, and has information about character greetings, and everything is very like stylized, like for kids to like look at and stuff. Like, I've always been obsessed with maps. I've had just a huge collection of Disney parks maps from over the years, and framed maps from Disney World literally around my house. Like, we have an opening day Magic Kingdom map, framed, beautiful piece of artwork in our living room downstairs. But so I just love these stylized maps, and these maps are just, I think it's so cool. When I was growing up, when I would go to Disney World with my family, my sister and I used to play a game called the Map Game, where we would literally have a map, and we would just play around like, oh, what's the best way to get from here to here, and we'd trace our finger across the map, and it was just so fun. It's a beautiful, fun memory that I have, and that's maybe one of the reasons I'm so obsessed with Disney maps, and maybe one of the reasons why I know my way around so well. As a map lover myself, I totally understand what you mean. Yes, Tim, yes, absolutely. So, and I just think it's so cool to actually have maps geared towards kids. And I really hope that they keep this up, not, after Cool Kid Summer and, after Disneyland 70th and all that stuff. If they just keep printing these kid maps, I think the kids would really like it. And, let me know. I see a lot of people. Yeah, maps are awesome. So, I'm just looking on, they have like a Cool Kids scavenger hunt on the back of this Epcot map. So like things to look for. play a game in Goofy Core. I'll talk about Goofy Core in a second. Go to space, talk with a turtle, play with water, learn a word in a different language, make music with drums, spot the Eiffel Tower. So that's a cool kid scavenger hunt. That's so cute. That's so cool. Goofy Core. Can we talk about Goofy Core? Does anyone know what I'm talking about when I say Goofy Core? All right, when I first heard Goofy Core, my pop punk brain, I love pop punk music and heavy music. I just thought of like breakdowns. I thought of just Goofy, just like going for it in the pit, like Goofy Core. So that's me. But Goofy Core, in the Communicore Hall, they added this experience for kids, for Cool Kids Summer, called Goofy Core, because Communicore, Goofy Core has nothing to do with Goofy breaking down. I just need Goofy with the guitar, just real low, But it's so cute. So there's games, Goofy's there, they made the whole floor look like a game board, and they you go through and play these games with Goofy, and there's like a DJ or something in the middle, and it's just so cool. They've just turned that into like a big kid space. And when Communicore Hall first opened, there was a lot of criticism about how they're not doing enough with it, or it doesn't look good enough, or what was it, last Christmas they promised a Christmas tree forest sponsored by Balsam Hill, and there was really just 4 Christmas trees in the front. So people have been really critical of Communicore Hall, but I think they've really stepped it up since Festival of the Arts, when they had the Disney costume exhibit, and it was just so gorgeous seeing costumes from The Lion King and Aladdin and stuff. And not that Goofy Core is as amazing as a beautiful Broadway costume exhibit, but what I'm saying is they're using the space right. They're using it correctly. The only time I've been in Communicore Hall was for Food and Wine Festival last year, and it was fine. I mean, they had a couple we have more Christmas trees in our house than they had on display. Yeah, that's really funny. We do. So we went for Food and Wine Festival, and it was a little bit of food, a bunch of tables, and some merch, and there was nothing to it. And I think that they've really figured out that this is a flex space that they can use for really cool exhibits or fun games and stuff. And this Goofy Core thing just seems like a really great place for kids to get their energy out, not in the heat, and let the parents sit down and just hang out with Goofy. But speaking of Goofy, there's more things going on, more people to meet, and I think this is really cool. You can meet Phineas and Ferb now for Cool Kids Summer. And I just think this is really cool because we were at Hollywood Studios for what was it called, Jollywood Nights, and Phineas and Ferb were out. We didn't get a chance to meet them. People really like Phineas and Ferb, and I know the show's coming back, and so now for it to be out, it's still a special event. It's still Cool Kids Summer, but to have them out, not just at a hard ticket event, I think is really cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have Phineas and Ferb been out in the parks for non-hard ticket events in the past? Let me know. I'm curious about that. But that's obviously, Cool Kids Summer, and then also celebration of the show coming back. Are you excited for Phineas and Ferb coming back? I love pop punk music, so obviously Bowling for Soup is a really cool band. I've seen Bowling for Soup a couple of times live, and they always play the Phineas and Ferb song, and it's just so cool. So cool. So yeah, years ago, Phineas and Ferb were out. So a couple more things I want to talk about, and then we're going to bring my co-host Andy on the show. We're going to talk about Lilo and Stitch. So stay tuned for that in a few minutes. But one thing I also want to talk about at California Adventure for the 70th, they've put up these really big posters that some are kind of cool and some are not cool, I guess. So basically they put these big posters up that are celebrating not only the park, California Adventure, but also just Disney history. So vintage style posters. One of them is of the Walt Disney Studios, and it's humongous. And it says premiering the brand new home of the Walt Disney Studios, and it has the old marquee, the one with Mickey on it, like that, and it just looks really cool and super vintagey. And Um, it's just fantastic. This was it's a picture of the Hyperion Studios as it looked, between like 1926 and 1940, and it's just really really cool. So, but then they have another poster near, like it just has like the the big the entrance, the turnstiles, and how it looks like the like green and white like Art Deco like style, and it just says Disney California Adventure, located steps away from the Magic Kingdom. And I'm just thinking, do we need a poster of the park that you're already in? It doesn't look vintage. It's weird. It's a weird choice. Um, so it's yeah. I'm just looking at it. It doesn't look good. But then the other one is cool because it says visit Pixar Pier. And it's more like you're in the park and it's an advertisement for some stuff you can do in the park. Very similar to like how Disneyland had or how Disneyland Magic Kingdom has the attraction posters when you're entering, right? So this says Pixar Pier, Fun in the Sun. It has a picture of like Incredicoaster and some of the other things you can do in the area. The Pixar Pal Around and the Yeti snow cone thing, and it's fine. But then the other one, an advertisement for World of Color, and it's really big. This was pretty because it looks very like Art Deco in style. And if Disney history, the Wonderful World of Color was the TV show that Walt was on. And it went through a few different names. The Disneyland TV show, Wonderful World of Color, whatever. It had different names, but it was called Wonderful World of Color for a bit. And this poster just feels nice because yes, it's an advertisement for World of Color, the show, the water show in California Adventure, but it says Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color on the poster, which is the name of the show. And so it's beautiful. It celebrates just both parts of Disney history. You got the California Adventure show and then just Disneyland TV show. So I think it's really great. And yeah, so lots of really cool stuff happening. Is Andy? Are you still in the chat? Sound off in the chat if you're still in here. We can talk about Lilo and Stitch. So, really quick, just what do you guys think of all this 70th stuff and the big music box thing? It looks beautiful, right? There's Andy. Oh, Andy's still here. All right, let's bring on Andy. Let's bring Andy in and let's talk about Lilo and Stitch. I'm using the microphone, so I need to hear Andy.
Yo. Hey, man.
Yo. Trying to see if I need the headphones for this. I'm using my mic.
Check.
I
Check
guess not.
one. You good?
There we go. Cool. I was wondering because it's plugged in to my phone.
It
but
sounds good.
I guess I don't need that.
No, it sounds.
There you go.
It sounds really good. Your audio quality is great.
Sick. Yeah. I was trying to just always finding ways to improve the show.
What's up, man?
So yeah, welcome Andy Goots, everybody. So you specifically texted me and we were like, we got to talk about Lilo and Stitch. So we're all right. We're gonna talk about this movie with no spoilers because there are people who haven't seen the movie.
Okay.
So
I can do that.
I just want to allow people to enjoy this film the way
Yes.
that we were able to enjoy it as well. So Andy, what were your thoughts? What do you think of the movie?
My thoughts. I very much enjoyed it. There's been a lot of controversy, obviously, with a lot of the Disney remakes. And it was really good. For comparatively amongst all the other Disney remakes, this one had a lot of heart to it. It stayed reasonably close to the source material. The changes that they made, I was okay with them. I had no issues with them. Some of them were just adapted for just a modern day, right? I'm trying so hard not to
All right,
spoil.
so we could let's not talk about plot spoilers,
Okay.
but like character spoilers or like I don't know. All right,
Okay.
here's the thing. I'm going to put a disclaimer right here. We're not going to intentionally spoil the movie, but if you're watching this and you haven't seen it, maybe just get off because we might spoil something that you
It's
find,
so hard not
you
to.
know,
I
but
mean, come on.
we're not going to intentionally spoil any plot points of the movie, but I will say it stayed very very close to the original movie. Um
Disneyland locals. Oh man, we want you to stay here,
uh
but also
all
let's
right.
do our best. We'll do our
That's what
best.
I'm saying. We're going to do our best, but if something slips, don't at us being like, "Hey, you spoiled Lilo and Stitch on your live stream." You know, all right, we're doing our best. It's Lilo and Stitch. Just go watch it.
It was
Um,
it was great. You go first.
all right. Well, I really did like Lilo. I thought the movie was fantastic, and what I really liked about it is that it was so much more grounded. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was.
obviously, the original film it was an animated feature, so you know, in essence, it was a cartoon. You know, and but I feel like because it was a cartoon, it was very
Yeah,
silly. There was a lot of really silliness to it. A lot of the Stitch like terrorizing the town was just really goofy and silly because it was an animated movie in the 90s, you know? But I feel like, and that's one thing I was worried about watching this movie. I was like, how are they going to make this, you know, very cartoony movie
yeah.
into a live action movie that's believable and something that feels real, feels live action? Because if you're putting this you know this story in the real world it's got to work in the real world to a certain
It's not a
extent.
live action movie that's just nothing but animation, which has
Exactly
become
right. It's not like the Lion King, you
right, and
know,
Jungle Book, or
or
even Snow White to some degree,
Mufasa.
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like that. There's um those movies, you know, it felt like they were trying to be real, but they also kind of played into some of the cartoony aspects of it because they were animated. You know, spoiler alert for the Lion King movie, those aren't real lions. You know, it's all animated. But so this movie, um, the aliens looked good. Stitch looked really good. There weren't
This
really
looked
any
great.
parts of the movie that took me out where I was like, Stitch doesn't look right or whatever. Like it always felt natural.
The practical with Stitch was really good. I mean, like this scene's even in the previews, right? Or the trailer. Little things like Nani getting hit in the face with the refrigerator because Stitch is the one who opened it.
Yeah, yeah.
They did a really good job with the practical.
More like, I mean, it's still an alien movie, so it's not, you know, real. But
Yeah,
it feels so much more grounded, and the story in this version of the movie felt like it was more focused on Lilo and
yeah,
Nani and the real life, and then
yeah.
Stitch was a side character, somebody who
He
kind
was
of
like the catalyst. He was the catalyst of Lilo and Nani's adventure. Yeah,
exactly right. He was kind of like the thing that was throwing off what they were trying to build as, you know, their little family. And it wasn't like a movie about Stitch. It was
right.
a movie with a lot of heart about Lilo and Nani and the family, and then Stitch just played a part in like, you know, being Stitch.
I really liked the little things like the zoom in shot when Lilo hugs Stitch for the first time and just like, oh, there they are. Like there's that moment. That was really
Yeah, and
good.
Stitch is like looking at the poster of the dog being hugged. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
yeah.
it felt
It's
good, you know.
perfect. I only have there's with every Disney live action remake, there's obviously just like all the beef. Everyone's got beef to the nth degree, right? I don't have a lot of beef with this movie, which is great, which is why I liked it so much. I enjoyed the whole thing. The only thing that I wished there was more of is so Zach Galifianakis plays Jumba,
Yeah,
obviously, right? Everyone pretty much knows now that Zach Galifianakis is not speaking with a Russian accent like the original Jumba in the cartoon. Uh, just not enough Zach Galifianakis. Zach Galifianakis is a
he's
funny
a
dude.
funny guy.
He's a
Yeah,
funny guy, and Jumba is a funny character. And Zach Galifianakis is a little bit too much of a straight man. I
and
feel.
to not spoil anything, I feel like that was sort of intentional for the way the plot of the movie goes.
Yeah,
All right. So again, this is not a spoiler if you've seen any of the trailers, but they go into like a human form, right?
Yeah,
So
they're
Pleakley
live
and
action actor, voice actor, human
John,
form.
but yeah, and that was some of my favorite stuff in the movie was like the Pleakley character,
Yeah,
like
trying to get the
and like
golf cart to start,
yeah,
stuff
it
like
was
that.
just
Yeah, yeah,
and like the outfits he put
right.
on,
Yeah,
like just like in the original movie where he like dressed like a girl, and it was very funny. Like they did all that stuff, but without them looking like aliens. That's one of the things that I felt was very cartoony about the original movie.
I
Was
know.
like,
Yeah,
oh, no one's gonna
right.
believe this
Yeah,
alien in a
yeah. This guy's
wig.
got four eyes. Yeah,
Exactly,
one
yeah.
eye. Yeah, yeah.
Or one eye, yeah. So I feel like that's one of the things where I meant where like it was grounded, where these aliens realize like, hey, our disguise has to be like taking human form.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I just really liked about it. And yeah, Zach Galifianakis is definitely underused in this film. He's a funny guy.
He's a funny dude, and like he's got like there's. I guess I just expected more like one-liners, like fun, like little quippy one-liners from Zach,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
maybe they got cut. Who knows? But
yeah.
other than that, I really liked Nani. So yeah, again, this isn't a spoiler, but so like Nani in Lilo and Stitch obviously can shred on the waves. Like she's like a really, really good
Yeah,
surfer.
yeah.
Is the actress because they showed the actress who plays Nani actually surfing in these movies, which makes me think that like that actress can actually surf in
I
real life,
guess she can. Yeah, that's pretty
which is
cool.
really cool. I
Unless it was like
really
a
enjoyed that too.
stunt
Yeah,
double. I don't know if
I don't
she does her own
think. I mean,
stunts
it
like
seemed
Tom Cruise or
yeah.
anything.
It seemed like that was really her doing it. Like they made a point to zoom in on her on the wave.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe it was really hard. I mean, side note, not Disney at all. Saw the new Mission
So did
Impossible. It
I.
was incredible. Go
Great,
watch it.
fantastic.
Spectacular,
Yeah,
fantastic
great
movies.
movie.
So much to the
I didn't
point that
understand anything that was going on at
did
all.
you not see
Like
the other movies?
no, I did not.
Oh my
So like so I had
dude.
no context. I had no context in any of it.
But it was still incredible, right?
But the action was absolutely
So
fantastic. The
like
action was
I
flawless.
I love Mission Impossible. The whole franchise is great. And actually like
Your
we get
popcorn bucket was dope too.
the what?
The popcorn
The
bucket
popcorn.
that you got.
Yes, the
Yeah, the
popcorn bucket
popcorn
looks
bucket
like
was
yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
We got that. We actually had like my sister went to the theater like several hours before our showing just to buy the popcorn buckets. And then, because by the time we went to
Sold
the movie for
out.
our showtime, they were gone. They were completely gone. So it looked like a bomb. They have like a little key that opens it. So cool. Like
Bravo.
we had rewatched the the movie right before this one, like a couple days before we saw the new
Yeah.
one. And now Chelsea and I are actually having a Mission Impossible marathon.
Just
We're
I know
watching all eight of them just back to
that
back
is
to
what
back. We're
I'm
on number
starting
four
to
right
do.
now.
Well, I mean, because like there's, I mean, they're like Bond movies, right? Like there's just so many things happen, and like there's so many of them at this point.
But there's some good connections like
I've
between them films.
only seen up till three,
But
and so I went one, two, three, nothing until nine. So
I
I think I'll probably do the same thing.
they get better as they go. This is now the Mission Impossible podcast, guys. They get better as they go, and
And the stunts
the
get more awesome too.
stunts get more awesome. And Tom Cruise does his own stunts, which was the tie-in we were saying before. Did the actress who did Nani? Did she do her own surfing? That's how we got to Mission Impossible
I
somehow.
think she did.
Well, we're back. We're back at
Right, it
Disney.
is.
We're back.
We're back. We're back. Yeah, I really liked the actress who played Nani. Can we talk a little bit about the actress that plays Lilo and just how absolutely
Marvelous,
perfect she
spectacular.
was? Like
Yes,
just
yes.
fully embodied Lilo. Ooh, could have used a little bit more from Myrtle Evans as well. Myrtle Evans in the cartoon, you just hate her so much, and I don't know, could have used a little bit more Myrtle hazing in
So
the movie too.
yeah, did you see how many voice actors from the original were in this movie?
Well, I know Tia Carrara, the original voice of Nani.
Yes,
Yes,
she
and that's
played the
it.
social worker.
That's the only one that I picked up on. Who else?
So yeah, she played the social worker, and then the original voice of what's the guy's name? Jack or something? The surfer guy.
Oh,
The
Davis.
David. There we go. That's Jack. I don't know. David.
Yeah.
So the voice of David was the boss that fires Nani. That guy. And then of course Chris Sanders, the voice of Stitch, came back to revoice Stitch. And there was one more. It was the voice of the what was it? Like what? Like the little old lady from the original cartoon with the glasses. She came.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, so she owned the plants. She owned the plant store
Yes,
in
that's what
the
it was. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
She came back in this film as well. Something interesting about Chris Sanders that I didn't know until Chelsea told me. How to Train Your Dragon is his movie also. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No,
Apparently, he left Disney and went to DreamWorks and made How to Train Your Dragon.
I
Another
knew
spectacular
that. I
film.
knew that. I knew that he was originally from Disney, but I didn't know that that was. I didn't know that Stitch was his. So I wonder if there's any bad blood between them when all that went
I
down.
don't know, but I mean, he came back. And, I don't
Good
know
for
if he's
him.
involved in the new How to
Being
Train
the
Your
bigger
Dragon
man.
movie.
He was the big.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. Have you seen them? They're fantastic movies.
yeah, yeah. The How to Train Your Dragon movies are fantastic, and I'm really just excited to see the new live action movie. Hey, Tony, what's going on, Tony? We're talking about Lilo and Stitch, and so yeah, so the acting was fantastic in this movie. The story was well grounded, but it also I don't want to make it sound like it was like a dry retelling. It wasn't. It was funny,
It was
and the
fun.
Stitch stuff, this kind of mischief that Stitch got into was
It was
still
still
really funny, but
on. It was on brand. It was still on Stitch brand.
it was more like more practical, like
Yeah.
crashing a wedding and stuff. Like it was funny. It was good. It's good stuff. Which made me think like, do you remember the? So you gotta go see Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, you gotta see it, man. Um, when the Lilo or the Stitch ride at Magic Kingdom premiered, do you remember the promo that they did for this?
The TP, the
They
magic, the
TP'd
TP
the
of the
castle.
castle of the
Yep.
castle. Yeah, brilliant,
Gosh, that's so
brilliant promo.
funny. So like the that kind of Stitch humor is on brand, and I wonder if Disney kind of misses a Stitch attraction, and I wonder if we're gonna get one again. Not that Stitch's Great Escape was
I was
a
not a
good one.
fan, not a fan, not a fan.
I
Not I
feel
was not a
like
fan of Alien Encounter. I was not a fan of
oh,
Stitch's Great Escape.
Don't even Alien
Yeah,
Encounter is one of
dude.
my favorite all
I
time
know,
favorite
no,
rides.
dude, no,
Were you just
big strap,
scared of
just
it?
like big strapped in your chair when things just mess with you. Like that is a legitimate nightmare.
Yeah,
That is an actual nightmare for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. So, and that was, apparently part of the problem with Stitch is that you have these little kids going to see Stitch, and then they're all of a sudden they're buckled in. And even though the show was funny, it's just
It's
that claustrophobia or not being able to leave.
dude,
Like
it's scary, man. I
yeah, yeah.
can't do it.
But there's one of the foreign parks. Might be Tokyo or one of those. They have their version of the Tiki Room has Stitch in the middle, and he comes out playing like a little
That's
ukulele and stuff.
cool. I
It's
like that.
almost, and I'm thinking, I kind of associate Stitch more with like Polynesian culture and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff than Tomorrowland, even though he's an alien and he's kind of the unofficial mascot of Magic
totally.
Kingdom's Tomorrowland.
Yeah,
But if they
yeah.
give him another attraction, I'd like to see him in Adventureland.
Seeing Adventureland with that Polynesian theming behind the attraction. You mean
Right. I like
honestly, at this point, dude, with everything that's going on with Animal Kingdom and Encanto and all the stretches you're making there, you could even put like
Stitch over there.
you could put Stitch in Animal Kingdom.
Have like
You
a
could
Polynesian
right,
area or something.
yeah, like
What if we had some sort of like surfing attraction? Like I don't know how that would be. I just had this like idea in my brain, like like we have like a soaring attraction. We're on a hang glider. Is there an attraction that can make us feel like we're surfing? Is that a thing? Because that would be
or
really cool.
they just do like an never ending wave like we did one time at that resort that we hung out at.
You know that there used to be a wave generator on Bay
Like a
Lake
flow ride.
over by the
Uh,
Polynesian.
we're talking about. I think the actual term is called a flow rider.
But
Is
no, but
what
this no no. This was a wave generator in the actual lagoon, in like the actual water. It's probably still down there, and it was installed to actually make artificial waves
to crash
in the actual
to crash
like
on the
Bay
shore.
Lake area.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool and expensive.
yeah, and broken and just rotting away probably.
That's
Um,
cool.
But yeah, I mean, Lilo and Stitch are characters over at Ohana for breakfast. You can do Ohana breakfast and meet Lilo and Stitch animated version. So like the Stitch or the
Costume
Lilo
character.
character looks like the animated one.
Yeah.
You literally texted me when you got out of the movie. You said like, "Now I just want Ohana,"
Yes. Because
which
they said it like just all they say in that movie is Ohana, and I don't. Ohana doesn't mean family to me.
it means noodles, man.
Ohana means just all you can eat.
It means
All the
eating so
foods.
much that you are just keeled over at Trader Sam's, trying to enjoy your beverage, but not trying to throw up. That was me. That's yeah. Yeah. Any other thoughts on Lilo and Stitch?
Uh no, it was a solid it was a solid remake or a solid adaptation. As far as all of the other Disney remakes go, this was definitely one of the best. I think they should keep following this momentum from here on out.
And that's the kind of the thing that when Snow White did what it did, or didn't do, I guess, it kind of put a sour taste in
A
people.
lot of people,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of people already were having fatigue about Disney live action remakes, but I felt like the company was starting to feel it, like, oh, this bomb, people don't like this anymore. And then with Stitch coming out, I feel like people, yo ho, daddy,
Yo,
what's going on, man?
oh, hey
Um,
man.
I feel like now there's a part of me that like wants the Disney company to still not make more.
Like what's
But I feel like
what's
they're
your
going to
vibe
see
on the what's
this
your
being
vibe on
so
the
successful.
Rapunzel? Because like that was the whole thing, right? They were gonna greenlight the Rapunzel movie, but then because of what happened with Snow White, who knows?
And
So
now
like,
Stitch,
what's how
but
do you
they
feel
can't
about
just
that?
keep going back and forth. And I think what Disney needs to realize is it's not that we hate live action remakes,
Well,
it's
to
that
do
we
it right,
hate when they do them
yeah,
badly. Yeah.
we're rushing.
Exactly. And so, like, there was a lot of issues with Snow White, one of them being the actual script. They changed so much from the original, from what I understand. I still haven't seen it.
Same.
And I know they went through some rewrites and reshoots and tried to fix it. But I know that was part of the problem when when the script kind of started leaking and people started realizing what they were doing to it. And that's one of the things that Stitch did really well is that already talked for Lilo and Stitch too. Yeah, so one of the things that Lilo and Stitch did really well is they adapted the original movie, but they didn't lose the essence of it. And when you're
No,
making these princess movies, it's very easy to lose the essence when you're trying to appeal to certain pockets of the community,
is that
and you start to
is that the
lose.
point? Is that the point, Nick? Like, well, no, never mind. I'm biting my words. But you made a good point about the princess live actions are so hard to hit the mark because of the demographics and making everybody happy. But like when you think about the non-princess live actions, like Jungle Book was great.
Jungle Book was a really cool movie,
Jungle Book
but
was a
then but
fantastic
then
movie, and it did
I
exactly
feel
that.
like I feel like Lion King was
Was
meh.
not
And then
exactly.
Mufasa, honestly, Mufasa was garbage.
You didn't like
Like,
Mufasa?
I did not like it. I'm sorry. Like, it was just bad. Like, the songwriting, I've never missed Elton John so much in my life. Like hearing some of these songs where it's like, oh, you're my brother, or whatever. Like, it's like, oh my gosh.
I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't mind the backstory behind it. It wasn't like great,
It was
but
just one of it felt very like Star Wars in the
wasn't
sense
needed.
that who
It
asked
was
for this
not needed.
backstory?
With the move, it was not needed. It was not needed. The Mufasa movie was not needed. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oops.
And Lilo and Stitch, when they first announced Lilo and Stitch, I was one of the people who was like, "Oh my goodness, like really, we're doing Stitch now? Like this is where we are?" Like, but I feel like they did such a great job, and like you said, like we were saying, it's the princess movies that they're having a hard time
Hmm.
with, right? But imagine if they did live action remakes of some of these movies that need more love.
Goofy
Atlantis,
movie, Goofy
dude,
movie live action remake.
I don't know how they do that, but that'd be crazy. But I'm saying, dude, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, like these are movies that could be incredible in live action, and they don't have this the princess appeal, which I think is what Disney's looking for, but they have this appeal to this whole other demographic. Can we just talk about Lorcana for a second? Like Lorcana has been doing such a great job of bringing these old Disney movies back into people's hearts, and I feel like if Disney were to capitalize that on that a little bit, make those movies instead of trying to do Rapunzel, or Snow White, or like these movies that are just so beautiful in their classic form. And maybe that's another thing, man. Maybe these other movies are just so untouchable that we don't want to see them remade. But then
I feel
movies,
like a lot of people make that argument. I've seen a lot of like memes saying like "Don't touch Treasure Planet," like "Don't touch."
but that's the thing, though, is that those movies are cult classics now, but they were so poorly received when they came out,
Very
Treasure
poorly
Planet and
received.
Atlantis. there was going to be a Disneyland Atlantis ride. The Nautilus attraction in Disneyland and Tomorrowland, that was going to be rethemed to Atlantis. They even had like a big sign up saying like Atlantis coming soon in the park. And the movie flopped, so they ended up not doing that, and then they ended up making it Lilo and Stitch. But like, since these movies were so poorly received, maybe that's the green light to try again instead of trying to recapture the magic of something that people already love.
It's a good point. It's a good point. They just have to do it right. But with all the things, right? They just have to do it correctly. But whether they will or not, man, who
Who
knows? Who knows?
knows? I think like what they did right with Lilo and Stitch was grounding it, was making it a movie with heart and not just a
Yeah,
silly movie. And I don't know. My other favorite live action Disney remake is actually a princess movie. I really liked Aladdin.
you like
And
a
I
lot.
think what I liked about Aladdin was, the Guy Ritchie like stylings of it. It was very like fast paced, like parkour, and like it just felt like a fun adventure
Yeah.
movie. And it I don't know. That's what I liked about it. Those are my two favorite Disney live action remakes: of Stitch and Aladdin.
Ooh, Stitch is definitely up there for me. We talked about this before. It was either in another Mid Monday or a pod about what our favorite live action is. Uh, I really like Beauty and the Beast for some reason.
Yeah,
Like I know Emma Watson's voice is a little on the auto
T
tune
Pain.
side, but other than that, I really like the casting of like Cogsworth um
Ewan McGregor,
and
man.
Ewan McGregor. Actually, and then
Lumiere,
actually, you know
yeah.
what? I'm gonna take this back again. I'm gonna take this back again. Live action Cinderella. I forget. I completely forget about live action Cinderella with Lily
That
James. It's
movie
so
is not
old.
getting enough love.
It's
And there was
so old. Exactly. Like people forget that was it the
well,
first one that kicked it off? Was like in
it was
Kenneth?
one. No, I think the first one was Maleficent, maybe.
Okay,
Um,
but I know Kenneth Branagh, who is just like a prolific thespian and huge in the UK. He directed that, and to your point. They grounded it, they expanded and gave heart, and they humanized Lady Tremaine a little bit. Also great casting with Kate Blanchett, right?
yeah,
Lily
Lily
James as
James.
Cinderella,
Yeah,
dude from Game of Thrones as Prince Charming.
that was
Don't know his
spectacular.
act, don't know what
Yeah.
his name is, but yeah. Actually, okay, I'm gonna go Cinderella, Lilo, Beauty.
You say that people forgot about the Cinderella movie. I almost feel like that was kind of intentional because
It
there was
was
like,
because it wasn't on
yeah,
Disney Plus for
yeah,
forever.
there was a few years where that movie was not on Disney Plus,
I
and
don't
I
think
could
it was
not
even on
figure out
any
why.
streamer. I don't think you could even like stream it on Amazon for like five
It
bucks
was
even
like
for a
around
while.
like pandemic, like around 2020,
Yeah,
2021 ish. Because I remember being home during the pandemic, and like Chelsea and I were trying to watch Disney movies, and we like, oh, let's go put this one on. I have that one on Blu-ray, but it was like, where is this movie? Why doesn't it exist anywhere?
there was a
So
reason. There was a reason for it. I don't remember what the history was. But yeah, like
maybe
but
tell
yeah,
me what the
live action
rights
Lily
or
James, man. Actually, her singing.
that movie is a
Um,
spectacular movie.
yeah, great film, great film.
Yeah. What was it the Lavender Blue? She's singing that in the
Dilly dilly.
movie. Yeah. Yep.
It's
Gorgeous. Yeah. So, anyways, that's our thoughts on Lilo and Stitch. We both really liked it. It was fantastic. If you liked Lilo and Stitch, sound off in the comments, or if you're watching this as a reel, let us know if you liked Lilo and Stitch because it was spectacular. And what's another live action, or what's another Disney movie that you would like to see as live action? Let us
Pinocchio.
know. They did Pinocchio.
I know it was so
Oh,
bad. I
with Tom
know,
Hanks.
dude. It was. I stopped. I stopped
We
watching
watched the
it.
whole
I
movie.
stopped. No, dude. I stopped
It
watching it. Like,
wasn't good.
dude, it
And
was
that's one of the things that people were saying with like
so bad.
Or Snow White, where it's like they knew that what they had with Pinocchio probably wasn't that good, so they put it on Disney Plus. Or at least that's how it seems. Why didn't they do that with Snow White? Like, why did they put themselves through a release and then a subsequent
Dude,
re-release
because
of Snow White? Like, they glutton for punishment, I guess, man.
and I
They
mean,
just
and then at that point they were already full send. Like, the point of no return
They
was
wanted to make their money back.
like they were way past the point of no
Money.
return with money and the advertisement and everything. It would be even more embarrassing if they did that. I feel. I don't know.
I feel like re-releasing it after it tanked was part of the most
I
embarrassing
still think Pinocchio is
move.
better than Snow White. Okay,
Well, Pinocchio
that's
had Tom Hanks in it, man. Who did Snow White have? Rachel, what was her name?
Rachel
Zegler?
Ziegler. Dude, she's the
No.
worst.
I mean, so if you have Tom Hanks, it bumps up your movie from like worst movie to like it's fine just because of Tom Hanks. Like he has that kind of star power.
Fair,
He's Forrest Gump,
fair,
man. He's
fair.
Woody.
Very, very, very fair. Very
He's
fair.
Woody only in the
He's
movies.
Walt.
He played Walt. He
He's
played Walt
Walt.
Disney. Did you like that movie? I
Save
like that movie.
Mr. Banks.
Save Mr. Banks.
Here's my piece on that movie. The actual movie itself is fantastic, and also I really like the portrayal of the Sherman brothers in that movie too, right? Because they actually have like Jason Schwartzman plays one of the
Yeah,
Sherman
yeah.
brothers. But I think like historically, that is
It was
not how it went down.
no,
Like
yeah,
that
and I
is not
don't think it
how
was
it
meant to
went
be a
down.
biopic. I think they were trying to like figure out, do people want to see Walt Disney in movies? And there's been a lot of like Walt Disney movie, like small budget films. Like there was one movie
Yeah,
had like
yeah,
the
yeah,
one guy
yeah,
from American Pie,
yeah.
where he played Walt Disney. Do you remember this movie?
The
He played like a young Walt
the
Disney.
dude from Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year in
Right.
American
Yeah,
Pie. Yeah, exactly.
he played Walt Disney. I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. I think even I want to say even John Heater, did the Napoleon Dynamite
he
guy
was
even
in
do one?
that movie.
Was
I
he
think
in
he
that
played.
same he plays brother maybe?
Yeah. He played Walt Disney's brother. He played
Okay.
Roy.
Okay,
Yep.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. I didn't see
So
it, did you? I didn't
huh?
see it, did you?
That movie? Yeah, I saw it. It
It was
was it
good?
was fine. I mean, it's so hard to like portray Walt accurately because so many people just you know he's such a prominent figure in history and he's such an iconic figure, which is what's worrying a lot of people about this animatronic
Yeah.
that's coming to Disneyland, which I'll be seeing soon. I'm so excited. Um, but yeah, Pinocchio, not a good film. Lilo and Stitch, good
Great
film.
film. Great
Great
film.
film.
Good
Great
movie.
film.
Good movie. Solid flick. Solid flick. Left there. Saw it with our 4-year-old. It was like her second movie in the theaters. She enjoyed it. Walked out and was just like, "All right,
It
okay,
was good.
I feel good."
It was good. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Great movie. Good to know. When you first texted me saying I want to talk about this on Mid Monday, I was worried. I was like,
It's like,
"What's he
oh no,
saying?"
oh no, he
I was
hated
like,
it.
"What do
He
you want to
hated it. It
say?"
was the worst.
I'm glad we're on the same page. Then it was a good
Only
movie.
beef was Galifianakis could have made it a little bit more funny, just with like just innately himself. Uh, I just felt like yeah, like if you're gonna put someone like Galifianakis in there, use him. Otherwise Jumbo could have been played by anybody.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. And that's if the only complaint is that we wanted more of somebody because we liked it so much. That's a
Great
fine
complaint.
complaint. That's good.
Yo, Daddy, my dude, my wife was also pregnant and cried during that movie. That was also a reality for me,
I,
man.
I'll be honest. I cried during that
We
movie,
all
dude.
cried. Yeah,
No spoilers in this, but yes,
yeah, man.
it got
When
you.
when when
It
Lilo
got you.
died, I couldn't. I know,
You
dude.
texted me that, and I was like, "This dude."
And then when Pleakley actually was like the same species of alien as ET and brings back Lilo, I mean, I was just
I
like
think
this.
when Will Smith comes and goes, "Welcome to Earth,"
When Will
that
Smith
was the
comes
best
to
part of the
welcome
movie.
to Earth. Yeah.
That was the best part of the movie.
Great creative direction. Brilliant creative
Great
direction.
homage to
Great
cinema.
homage.
Oh, oh, man, that was too good. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another MIM Monday. This has been a lot of fun. Be sure to tune in every Monday. We didn't do last week because it was a holiday. It was, it's kickoff of summer. It was my wife's birthday weekend. So we took a week off, but now we're back on this. We're going to do MIM Monday every Monday. So continue to tune in. Check out the podcast anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Show some love to the YouTube channel. That'd be awesome. And yeah, we have lots
We're
of
on
new
Threads.
episodes coming.
You're on Threads.
Yeah, Thread. I don't really do the Threads very
I
often.
don't.
I don't
I
really want to
have a
promote.
thread thing because Instagram told me to do it,
I
but
kind of deleted the Threads app So
Oh, okay. So I
I
guess
don't know.
we're not on Threads
We're
anymore.
on it, but it's not really posting anymore. I don't know. I didn't care for it. I thought it was dumb. But, but yeah, so yeah, we're on all these things. We have lots of new episodes coming up this summer. The next episode coming out will be part 2 of the Dino Land series. If you haven't heard Dismantling Dino Land Part 1, go check that out. It's very interesting backstory of Dino Land USA. The next episode of Dismantling Dino Land is going to be called From Dr. Seeker to Dr. Jones. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be really cool.
And music.
And
Don't forget more music's coming.
yeah, Hi Dad Soup. We have new music coming out. The next song that we're releasing is really, really good.
It's very
Stay
good.
tuned for
It's
that.
gonna be
It's going
very
to be
good. It's gonna be
awesome.
very good. Yeah.
Yes, yes. This was awesome. Andy, I'm happy you hopped onto this, man. This is
Always,
great.
dude.
This is
I'll
great.
I'll see you in like a couple days.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good
Later,
night.
y'all. Peace.
Bye. Hey, guys.